As a clinician who has spent decades counseling men on prostate health, from BPH and prostatitis to prostate cancer prevention, there's one food I discuss more than any other: the humble tomato. But why? What makes this simple fruit so important for a man's long-term well-being? Today, we're going to dive deep into the science. This isn't about food fads. It's about biochemistry and clinical evidence. First, let's understand why the prostate is so uniquely vulnerable. Think of it as a highly active, hormone-sensitive gland. It consumes a lot of oxygen, is constantly exposed to powerful androgens like DHT, and has relatively weak antioxidant defenses for its metabolic workload. This creates a perfect storm for two key problems: oxidative stress and chronic low-grade inflammation. These two drivers are at the root of benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, prostatitis, and even the development of prostate cancer. This is why diet becomes so clinically relevant, not as a treatment, but as a powerful way to manage and reduce your risk. So, where do tomatoes fit in? It's not just because they're a vegetable. A tomato is a biochemical delivery system packed with powerful compounds. The star player is lycopene, but it also contains beta-carotene, vitamins C and E, and beneficial polyphenols. While all these work together, lycopene is the real hero for prostate-specific benefits. Here's what makes lycopene so special. It preferentially accumulates in the prostate. Lycopene is fat-soluble, and for reasons we're still understanding, our bodies concentrate it in prostate tissue at much higher levels than in most other organs. This is incredibly important. If a protective compound can't get to the target organ, it can't do its job. Lycopene gets there once it arrives. It works in three key ways. First, it reduces oxidative DNA damage. Prostate cells are constantly bombarded by reactive oxygen species, inflammatory signals, and hormone-driven turnover. Lycopene is a potent antioxidant, even more effective at neutralizing certain free radicals than beta-carotene or vitamin E. It protects the cell membranes and reduces the DNA damage that can kickstart cancerous changes. The clinical takeaway: less oxidative stress means a lower risk of mutations and slower disease progression. Second, lycopene helps modulate androgen signaling. We know that DHT drives prostate growth, both normal and pathological. Studies show lycopene can interfere with DHT's ability to dock onto its receptors, and can tone down the expression of genes that fuel rapid cell growth. Now, this is a critical point. Tomatoes do not feminize you or tank your libido. They don't suppress normal testosterone. Instead, they help regulate the pathological over-signaling that contributes to prostate problems, which is a huge distinction. Third, lycopene has a powerful anti-inflammatory effect. Chronic inflammation is a hallmark of BPH, chronic prostatitis, and the environment where early prostate cancer develops. Tomato compounds, especially lycopene, help dial down this inflammation. They reduce the activation of a master inflammatory switch in our cells called NF-kappa hub and lower inflammatory markers like IL-6 and TNF. Clinically, this can translate to less tissue swelling, a reduced risk of urinary issues over time, and better symptom control for men with BPH. So, let's talk directly about prostate cancer risk. For decades, epidemiological studies have consistently shown the same thing. Men who eat more tomatoes and have higher blood levels of lycopene have a lower incidence of prostate cancer, especially the more aggressive types. It's important to be clear, tomatoes are protective, not curative. The benefits are strongest when you eat them consistently over the long term as part of a healthy lifestyle. For men already diagnosed, some studies have shown that higher lycopene intake is associated with reduced tumor growth and better outcomes alongside standard medical treatment. This is adjunctive nutrition, not an alternative to your doctor's advice. It's about using every tool in the toolbox. Now, here is a crucial detail where a lot of people go wrong. It's not just about eating tomatoes, it's about how you eat them. In raw tomatoes, lycopene is tightly bound up and not easily absorbed by your body. The magic happens when you cook them. Heat breaks down the cell walls and changes the chemical structure of lycopene, converting it into a form that's 2 to 3 times more absorbable. And if you add a healthy fat like olive oil, absorption gets even better. So your best sources are actually tomato sauce, tomato paste, stews, and tomato soup. This is one of those rare cases where processing actually makes a food healthier for you. What about for men dealing with BPH or an enlarged prostate? The enlargement is driven by the very things tomatoes fight: DHT, inflammation, and oxidative damage. While tomatoes won't dramatically shrink an already enlarged prostate, the evidence suggests they can help slow its growth, improve urinary flow over time, and even reduce how often you have to get up at night. Think of tomatoes as putting the brakes on the process, not throwing the car into reverse. It's about managing the trajectory of the condition. Are tomatoes safe for everyone? For most men, absolutely. But I do offer some cautions. If you have GERD or acid reflux, you might find cooked tomatoes are easier on your stomach than raw ones. If you have a history of oxalate kidney stones, you might need to moderate your intake. And a big one, whole food is better than supplements. Studies consistently show that whole tomato products outperform isolated lycopene capsules, likely because all the compounds in the tomato work together synergistically. Food first is always my advice. So, what's my practical recommendation after all these years in practice? It's simple. Aim for 3 to 5 servings of cooked tomato products per week. Always pair them with a healthy fat like olive oil to maximize that lycopene absorption, and make this part of an overall anti-inflammatory diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole foods. This is a low-risk, high-yield habit for long-term prostate health. Here's my final takeaway for you. After 2 decades of clinical practice, I can tell you honestly that tomatoes will not cure prostate disease, but they are one of the most well-researched foods for consistently reducing your risk, slowing disease progression, and supporting the overall resilience of your prostate. It's rare in nutrition science to find a food where the mechanism, the tissue-specific targeting, the large-scale population studies, and the clinical outcomes all align so perfectly. That alignment is what makes tomatoes so special and so important for men's health. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this information valuable, please give this video a like and subscribe for more evidence-based health content. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.